Took some L's to the chin, but I ain't stopping till I win. Only fail if you don't try. Take that step, gotta begin. Always have your faith in God and knowing it's part of the plan. Had to have my own back when they
segment of Talking in the Attic. This is your boy, William J., Uncle Jose, or Big JoJo, as everybody calls me. And with my co-pilot, the incredible Tevis. Hey, you better stop that. It's too early for that, Tevis.
The world. Okay. All right, sure. Throwing nicknames out there. I mean, some people call me Pusha T, so there we go. So, all right. Welcome to another episode of Talking in the Attic.
Yeah. So we got a few things, but first I want to just remind you all, please subscribe. We're on YouTube. We are on IG under Talking in the Attic. Tevis is Boyish Boutique. I am William J. Follow us. Also, we got some news. We're going to be incorporated on the Roku channel. I'll have some more info with that as the time comes, and I'll have more details, like I stated. But moving into today's segment, I want to know just, is there a such thing as love at first sight? I mean, because think about where we're at in society, the climate we're in. I mean, the online dating, people get ghosted. I mean, it's a whole just myriad of things that you can just throw into the mix. It just makes it interesting. And also, I want to know, what defines happiness, or when are people happy? So, T, what do you think about those topics? I just threw a lot at you, but I just want to know.
You did. I'm hoping I can keep track. So do I believe in love at first sight? I don't necessarily believe in love at first sight, but I think that you can find a connection with someone at first sight. Or that first interaction. Like, there's definitely a energy or a vibe that you catch with somebody that can be very, I feel like, instantaneous. I don't know if it's necessarily love, but it's definitely a connection. I think it's still out there.
Yeah,
I think it is. Okay. Even despite like how things have shifted in terms of dating and just like people aren't really committing to people because they have so many options now.
True.
They like are interested in somebody for a few months and then they just like move on.
Okay, well, tell me this. Do you think it's just lust, or just the attraction is just the physical and nobody wants to go any deeper? They just want the general, just what's available, and just, I don't want to say easy, but just, like I said, it's just available for them at the moment. And they just feel a need.
I think our attention spans are really short right now. And so it is just like so much is thrown at us with IG or just any type of social media. I mean, even for myself, if something does not grab my attention on YouTube or something within the first 3 minutes, or if I notice that something is too long, I don't even look at it. And so I think some people are like that, in that their attention span is so short that they aren't able to focus on one person or one thing. And just the availability of things right now. Just think about when I was living in Chicago, I was limited to the people who I went out with, whatever places I went. Like, that is what I was limited to in terms of my pool of people. And now you have just wherever you want to be, the people are. And so it's just so many options. And some people don't know how to manage those options. And I think some people are greedy. And
greedy and selfish. I mean, like you say, it's accessibility.
Yeah.
Like, it's so accessible now. Like, think about how many dating apps you got. People can just, you can go to a different town, a different city, or wherever you want to be. You get a whole new outfit and just say, okay, cool. I got the pick of the litter right now. It's whatever you feel like being involved with at that time.
Like,
and then also
you put the travel mode on your joint, and wherever you land, it's just like, hey, I'm here. Who wants to just have dinner? Who wants to like whatever? So
okay, so with that kind of like moves into when I was saying, what is happiness? Because how can you actually find happiness if that's even something that people look for in a relationship? Because it's almost like you said, with so many options and the people with their accessibility, how can you genuinely get to know somebody? Because it's always like you waiting for the other shoe to drop. and you're like, oh, okay, cool. This is what just this was for. It looked good in the first, whatever week or 2 weeks. You real intense and you have the intent. I've seen people texting, going crazy, trying to link up, but then after,
Yeah,
what transpires,
they fall off.
it's like, all right,
I'm done.
thanks, I'm out. Yeah, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? So,
I think like happiness, it's a little fleeting, and I think that sometimes for me, it is more of a dating. My happiness in dating is different than my happiness in other relationships because, like I have a standard happiness that's just always built into like my
mm,
friends, my family. But then when it's a
yeah,
romantic
okay.
situation, you don't know what you're getting. So it's just,
Mm.
things could be like rainbows and lollipops the first few weeks, few months. And then, but you always on edge. Wait, are you laughing at me?
He's just, the term. It's pretty colorful. I like it. So
It's
just
just
had to
like
go with chuckle.
so beautiful. And you're just like, yes, this is it. And then
Oh, mhm.
for you, for me in dating, it's been like, okay, when is this going to end? You only allow yourself to be this much happy because you're just like, okay, if I get my hopes up too much, not even in anything like long term, but just, I have someone I'm dating. And then, you just, they leave or they ghost you or whatever.
Wait. Yeah, that part. But also, you hinted on something. So you kind of had this perception, this preconceived notion that like it's something gonna happen. So do you automatically go into the relationships like that, and do you explain that to the other person, like, hey, I'm kind of edgy, or have a
Right.
look? Do you have?
Me personally, I don't explain that. I don't put that out there.
Oh wow.
Because it's not their business. It's not their business until you get to know the person. I'm just someone who no.
Wait.
You have to even see if this is worth your time. You know what I'm saying? Let me just put it
Okay, I
like that.
got you.
So,
Okay, I got
you
you.
go out with somebody a few times and it
Mhm.
doesn't go anywhere. So why would you put some stuff out
Yeah,
there? As
true.
opposed to someone where you see, okay, it's going somewhere. All right, let me open up a little bit more. Let me be a little bit more vulnerable. But you also have to be super careful because a lot of people use
Mm.
that information
Yeah,
and will flip it on you.
right,
So
right.
it's hard out here.
It's almost a catch
Yeah,
twenty
it's
two. Yeah, it's
hard.
almost a catch 22. It's like, and that's the thing with relationships. It requires a level of vulnerability. You have to be open with the
Hmm.
communication and understand that. And another thing that I find that's difficult is that so many relationships now rely on outside sources and then make it a community
Hmm. Oh
project.
yeah.
When in reality, this should be y'all working towards actually being a unit and growing, and growing towards something that have ultimate goal together. Are we going to just continue make a long term relationship? Are we going to actually commit and have the relationship form into a marriage? What's the deal? Or is this just something like a summer fling, or is this something just right now to just keep one another busy because we're super professional and we have limited time and space or whatever the situation
And I
is.
mean, like,
So,
so you being in a marriage, it's just like
mhm.
you have levels of vulnerability in your marriage that,
Yeah,
okay, maybe you didn't show this at year 2, but at year 7, you like, yo, this is what it is, and
yeah,
this is where I'm weak. This is where I need you to help me, pull me up a
yeah,
little bit. It's the same thing in a marriage. Like I was married before, and you want to be like, oh, just so vulnerable and open with your spouse, but sometimes it doesn't.
right.
You don't have that opportunity until a little bit later on in the marriage. So,
True. True. Yeah. And being in a marriage, like we're at year 15 and like we've been together since 2000. So we've grown
mhm,
together. We've learned how to actually, like I say, communicate in
yeah,
big. We've learned the vulnerabilities of one another. We've learned, how to actually help one another grow. And at times, there are points when the other isn't growing as fast as you, but you have to be patient because everybody arrives at their time on their time to whatever time and space that is. But you can't be somewhere sitting there frustrated like, oh, I'm giving up on this because that's the easy
Mm-hmm.
way out. That's the easy way out with everything is just to give up, unless it's so bad. I mean, not saying that it can't be so bad where you're like, you know
I'm
what?
done. I'm done.
Nah,
Done.
this is, you're like, okay, this person isn't trying at
Right.
all. Because I know some situations and I have some people who have had to put the kibosh on their relationships because, you're like, okay, yeah, I
Yeah.
understand. I get that. But yeah, it's just a whole lot that goes into it. It's a job. It's a full-time ass job. It's work. And a lot of people willing to commit to that work. So
That's
they see.
that's the part. Like I think that people again have gotten things so easily and so fast in
Hmm.
these past whatever, I don't know, let's
Yeah.
say 10 years.
Yeah.
It's just I don't feel like working for it. Like if it doesn't
Yeah.
come right now, if it doesn't come easy, I don't want it.
Yeah.
And I mean, you got to figure out what works for you
Hmm.
because everything isn't easy. It's
No.
not. Even when you're in a relationship, when you're dating, dating is so exhausting. Oh my God. Like I have to take breaks because I'm just like, I can't. I can't. This is too much. I don't have the
So,
bandwidth to, I don't have it. I don't.
so tell me this. Okay. I'm gonna ask you a little personal question. So when
Okay.
you started, I know everybody has their requirements, the standard of, people got to check certain boxes.
Hmm.
Have you eliminated some of those boxes? Or, like, I'm not saying lowered.
No, 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 but not, not in a bad way. Like, no,
I ain't, I ain't even get my question out. Go ahead. Keep cooking.
you have to tweak some things.
Okay.
So like, let's say 10 years ago, I was
Uh-huh.
like, or maybe even before that, I'm not dating anybody with kids. I don't want anyone with kids. Okay, well,
Mm-hmm.
I'm 43 now. That really
Mm-hmm.
doesn't work for a
Right.
43-year-old to say, oh, I'm not dating I'm not going to date anybody who has kids because
Right, right.
everybody has kids. I don't have children right now. But,
Mm-hmm.
to do that is kind of, for me, it just narrows things. It narrows the pool.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so you have to kind of tweak things. Like I
Right.
will say that things have shifted in my list.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe things that were in the top 3 have moved down and things that,
Mm-hmm.
things have moved around in the list, but the
Yeah.
list has not changed.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
The list has not changed.
Gotcha. Okay. So tell me, you work. You say your list doesn't change.
Mhm.
You say you do believe in love at first sight, or do you?
I believe in connections at first sight.
Connections. Okay.
Yes, I definitely believe there's like an energy that you have with somebody and it can translate into something more. So I think I probably love like for real, like 3 people in my whole life. Um, one of them was not my husband. Unfortunately, I mean, we were cool. And
Like,
I think I've like loved 3 people in my life. And
mhm.
those connections that I had with them was just like, I can't put it into words. It was just, I know. And I knew like instantly. So there have been guys who I've dated that I like, but it's just, yeah, it's a difference.
So what do you do about the ones that actually like you more than you actually like them? It's because I know the situations have happened to almost everyone.
It lasts for a little while and then it kind of wears off.
Okay, because it's not being reciprocated. You kind of like,
I mean, everybody has talked themselves into somebody a few times, or maybe more than a few times. I've talked myself into people before because it's like, oh, this makes sense, and so then you spend more time with the person, and then you develop an attraction to them. You develop feelings for them, and it's like, oh, this makes sense. Like he's this, he's that. This makes sense.
Right.
And but then the feeling is kind of fleeting sometimes. When it's someone that you've talked yourself into. But sometimes I've talked myself into people, and it's just like, oh, this actually like it worked out. This is actually a good situation. But I mean,
Gotcha.
so okay, I've loved 3 people.
Right.
So clearly in my book, you can love more. You can have more than like one love in your life. When you met your wife or saw your wife, was it love at first sight, or was it okay? We know each other, and then it develops into something else. Like, or do you even remember the first time you saw her?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I ain't think anything.
Anything.
People try to make themselves available. People always, not always, but coming at you for just different things. And I was like, okay, whatever. And she did not. Like, I met her in the gym because she used to play ball too. So I'm like, okay, so, she plays ball, cool. Then I started seeing her more of her, and it wasn't that I wasn't interested. She actually, she showed interest first, but I was just like, me being me. I'm always oblivious to stuff. I'm just like, okay,
Right.
cool, whatever. Then I really found out, oh, she's genuinely interested. And then, once we started hanging out, I started noticing certain qualities that I actually like. She's into sports. She's more than just beauty. She's brains. She got a lot of other good things going on. She comes from a good family. It was just other, like setting those boxes that you check. Because if you didn't have certain things like, good family, you can talk more about just some surface level crap. I was like, oh, okay, cool. But yeah, no, definitely no. Was not love at first sight.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. And they've been married for 15 years, so you don't have to
15
be
years.
Love at first sight for stuff to last.
Oh no.
So.
Oh no, not at all. Not at all. Shoot, I've known people who were friends and didn't even know they actually liked each other until they really was just in a certain situation where I'm like, y'all just figured that out. Like I saw it. I saw the chemistry. What are you doing? And they're just like, oh, I didn't know. But like I say, sometimes people have that level of being oblivious. Like I do. I'll just be like, oh, it's right here in my face. Damn, I didn't know that. But yeah, man.
Okay.
So.
All right. So like being a Black man, it is sometimes hard to be vulnerable in situations. I'm sure you haven't, because you're married, so you haven't had the opportunity to be like vulnerable in multiple dating situations or whatever. I mean, not recently.
No.
But I mean, you could go back and think about way back when. Were you?
Yeah, no, like
were you an asshole? Were you like?
Nah. No, not complete asshole. It's one where I am particular about things. And certain times if I'm on one, I'm like, yo, nah, this is not, I'll just be very blunt with people. And people take that as me being an asshole, but it's just me just telling you exactly how it is about me and my life. But also being vulnerable, yeah, I've had situations where I was the one who actually liked somebody more than they liked me, and come to find out, they were like truly not even interested in me. They just liked me just because, they just like me as like a arm piece or something. Okay. And I was like, oh yeah, it was bad. I was like, that was the first time I caught one of those gut wrenching, just that gut shot where you just sitting there like, oh man, that hurt. But yeah, so
I mean,
it was all right.
You're like, I rebounded. It happens.
Yeah, I rebounded. It happened, But yeah, it was at that moment that was like one of the most painful things ever, And you don't wish that to happen to anybody, but unfortunately, that was my own. No, I actually got 2, but that one, the one I'm talking about right now, was the one that sticks and burns the most. Like, yeah.
I'm not laughing because like it's not funny.
No.
I'm trying to think. Like,
yeah,
I've definitely liked some people, and they they liked me, but they didn't like me as much as I liked them, and that can be just as
Yeah.
just as
Yeah.
devastating because you're just like, man, I really like digging this person, and they just like, ho hum, whatever. It's 15 of y'all
Yeah.
that like me, so oh well,
Jeez.
get in line.
Right. Deal. So okay. So tell me this. When was the first time you said I love you to someone?
It probably was my boyfriend in high school. Like the first time?
Hmm.
Yeah, it was probably my boyfriend in high school. You don't be knowing what love
Hmm.
is. You just
That's what I was about to say. Did you really know?
you don't know what
You were
love
just
is,
like,
but it was just like, okay, I'm 14. This is
oh, he bought me some hair rolls. I'm good. I love him.
right.
Just saying. It be little simple stuff when you in high school. It be like the little simplest things. You be like, now you think back, like,
But I
the
mean, it was
come on,
so
man.
funny because like my first boyfriend, I did not see him or meet him for like 3 months. He could have like catfished me for real. So it was a friend in high school. She was like, "Oh my goodness, I have this friend. I think you would really like him." And she showed me a picture of him, and I was like, "Oh, he's cute." And so we exchanged numbers. We exchanged numbers through her, and we were just like talking on the phone. We probably talked for like
Right.
I don't know. I can't remember time, lengths of time back then, but we talked, let's say, for a few months, and then we finally met. And
What was that like? That
it was like
anticipation leading
total
up to it.
offense. It was the most. He wasn't in jail or nothing like that.
Wait.
It was
I'm about to say. Like what?
just no offense. Just go with the story. If I tell too many details, I'm going to
I'm
incriminate
here.
myself, and I can't do that.
I'm here. I'm here. I'm just, the
So he
fence
wasn't
just
in
got me. I'm
jail,
just
anything
okay.
like that. We met through a friend.
Uh-huh. Were you wearing a wire?
Whatever. So, and it was like, it was nervous. And then when I saw him,
Uh-huh.
I was like, oh, okay. He didn't quite look the way he looked like his picture, but and all women know this. Like, I think even from being younger, you make men or boys up in your head to be this thing, and they are so not that thing. At least I have done that before. It's like, oh my goodness, he's this, and this. And then you find out you like, he is not that. You have put this man on this pedestal, and not in a bad way, but you like pumped him up.
Yeah.
And then you get to know him, and you're just like, he kind of corny, but I like it. But I like it. I like it. He's a little awkward, but I like it. I like your level of awkward. You got to have a balance of awkward. So, it was cute, and and then it was just like, well, I already like him because we had made that connection over the phone for 3 months.
Okay.
So I already liked him. It wasn't like I saw him and I was like, ooh. It was just like I saw him and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But then I already liked him, so it was just
Sense.
like, okay, yeah. And it was, yeah, that was my first love. The first guy I said I love you to. um, yeah. And then I threw the word around a little bit more than I should have going forward in life. So there are a few people that if I could say I don't love you or I unlove you, I would definitely do it. I can name them on this podcast right now. I'm not gonna put their name out there like that. I'll list it
Oh,
on my
oh
IG
my God.
page under the video of the people who I said I loved you, and it was a mistake. I'm sorry. Oh,
Wait
I
for
will
that.
list it. Don't play with me. I'm not gonna say it on here, but I will list the name. I will
Let's
list the
go.
name.
Let's go. And I named that bird that killed me.
Yeah, so that was the first person, but I think that there were really I'm only counting 3 people that I was like in love with. Yeah. And I don't think it, so like, do you think it's do you think it takes a certain amount of time to be in love with somebody, or do you think it's just your interaction? Like, what do you? Because some people are like, oh, it's too soon.
Uh, wow. You know what? Different people have
Mm-hmm.
different stipulations and just, criteria. I mean, other people can just jump in. Like, I have a aunt and uncle who were
Mm-hmm.
married within 2 weeks and
Yeah,
they're still
that's
together.
crazy.
Like, and this is 40 plus years of my life. They've been married, that type of stuff. So I
Yeah.
know that can happen. And then on the other side, it's like, I know people who rushed into it, who people are just, I don't want to say just love, just that there's just, I don't know what the term to call it, but they desire love.
Yes,
They
I
have that
know
need
a couple
so
people, and they
bad,
just
you
have
know.
from, and I mean, yeah, they just have to be in something, and when they're in it, like,
Be,
oh my goodness,
yes,
this is like their
they're
world, their
in,
sun, their moon.
and
Yes.
they're wearing blinders, and you're like, hey, let's just pump your brakes a little bit. Like, yeah, like you're right. It's few people I know. I'm like,
Mhm.
hey, you've done this more than once. Don't you
Mhm.
think you need to scale it back just a little bit? But that's just their character. They're just in and they're in, and it's no pulling them back. But nah,
Like,
I can't really
what
say
do you
put a
remember when
limit
you
on it.
told your wife, "I love you"? Do you remember that moment? Who said it first?
Ooh,
Do you remember who said it first?
I that I no, that I don't. Like I don't at all. That dude, it's been like I say, we dated
Mhm.
for 8 years before I proposed. So like that part, the 8 years of that is just a blur. Like even these
Mhm.
past 15 is a blur,
With those
especially these
kids.
last three with these two little monsters.
You like, is it
Ooh,
Tuesday or is it
Lord.
Saturday?
I don't. I swear I would wake up and be like, "It's Friday." Like, boy is Wednesday. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Like I don't know, but yeah, no, I really don't remember who was. Now, if you ask her, she'll be like, "Oh, it was said on this
There's
day."
certain
Da da
things we
da da.
don't
Da.
remember.
She had.
There's just certain things we remember.
Dude, I hate her. I hate her memory. She'll remind me of some stuff, and I'm like, "Bruh, look, I wasn't trying to remember
Why
that.
you
Like that
bringing
was
up old
very
stuff?
embarrassing." Yeah, all the time. Like, yo, that was so embarrassing.
So,
Why are
like,
we talking
do
about this
you?
right now?
I know I used to have a thing where I cared who said it first, and now I don't. Yeah, I'm like whatever.
Really?
I don't know why. It's because it's just like a thing of
Well,
being
that was
vulnerable, and it's like whoever says it first
mm,
is the more because you don't know if it's gonna be said back. So,
right.
you can say
Yeah,
it
right.
and then like I have been laying in bed and sometimes next to the person and be like like talking myself up to say it. This is a true story. It's a true story.
I'm
And I
sorry.
would just be like,
Okay, okay,
yeah. Be like, are they awake? Get me. And then just say it. And then
okay.
yeah. So
Oh, wow.
but
Okay.
I feel like when you have
Yeah.
for me, I feel like when I've had hesitation, that should just let me know that wasn't it. Be- because people who
True.
I truly love, I had no regrets or like no feelings one way or
Yeah.
another about me saying it. And it's just like if you say it back, cool.
Yeah.
If not, I just want you to know that like I love you. So yeah.
I've had that feeling with somebody before, but I never said it. Like when I was dating like somebody, and I was like, like you say, now I
Hmm.
was just questioning myself, like, do I? What's the? It's because it was always that desire to want to see it, always want to be around. It was
Hmm.
because I could see myself building that world with that person. But unfortunately, that situation right there didn't last. That
Mm.
also was in college because that person transferred, left, went to another school. And I was like, back
No.
then it
Y'all
wasn't
was
like
gonna be
now you can
pen
still keep
pals.
in touch with
It
things.
was gonna be over.
It was, bruh,
But that's such a good. Go
bruh.
ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, shit. She was, Nah, I was gonna say something real
No,
ignorant. Go ahead.
this is a platform for ignorant shit. You go
just,
right ahead.
just for real. No, I'll relay that one on
But like
not
that,
this
I
one.
feel like, so back to the happiness part, it's like when you have that person that you want to see all the time, you want to be around them all the time. It is like the best feeling.
Yeah,
It's the best feeling in the world. It is,
of
it
course,
is,
of course.
it is like the best feeling in the world. And honestly, like when I mean, I
It,
loved my husband. Did I love him the way that I love like my true love? No. But when you when you lose somebody that you're truly in love with, you feel like, oh my goodness, I'm never gonna have this feeling again. But you do. You can have it I don't know how many times you get to have it, but you can have it like more than once. But when you have it,
of course.
you wonder like
And,
how long is this gonna last? And that goes back to the happiness thing. But I think that goes back into whatever your experiences were.
yeah.
You know, I have trauma that's related to relationships. You know, I had a situation where he had a whole nother life. And, you know, that causes trauma. And so then when you go forward dating other people, you just
Yeah.
like, okay, because people's
Okay.
fraud levels are, they are astronomical right now. And you would think that they wouldn't be because you can
Yeah.
access so much about people. Like
Oh no.
you could have been
It's so
the
much.
biggest scammer back in like 2000, let's say. But now, yeah, I mean, but still
That was
out
a
there,
long time.
and
Yeah.
it's the levels that
It's
they
more
go
sophisticated
to with
now.
the
It's way
fraudulency,
more
and
sophisticated.
on both sides, women too.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, yo, could you put this
Yeah, of
energy
course.
into something that could
And
maybe turn into something?
so, so that's the thing. I always think about that because it's like it's exhausting. Because just maintaining one relationship with somebody is enough. But now you're trying to juggle this and then maintain whatever your day job or whatever your true passion is. It's like those things get intertwined. You don't have that energy for it. And on a pivot, my guy, we were talking about this, and he was like, "Yo, I see how you can get so much done." He's like, "I don't allow that much access to me with people." And I'm like, and with that, now
Mm-hmm.
I got that narrow focus because I got a certain circle that I'm in touch with mostly. But if I didn't, and my world was so open to that, I'd just be out here just free
Mm-hmm.
floating and just doing what I want just because things are accessible.
So,
And I see a
so
lot
you
of that happening with
say,
people, but they
I
don't
want to
see it
make sure
that
I'm
way.
understanding
They see
correctly.
it as,
So you're saying when you have to focus on one person, like they get all your attention, you get more done, just in general in life, because you're not expending your energy to two and three people. Mm-hmm.
distractions. I just call it all as just chalk it up as distractions. It's all distractions. I mean, if I was single, yes, I would date to find actually who was that person I could commit that energy to. But like you say, I would still go in there with those certain parameters in arm's reach. Like, all right, cool. I want to
Yeah.
get to know you, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna drop
Yeah, and
everything and
I
just
mean,
dive
I
head
think that
first in.
comes with,
That's that thing.
it
So
doesn't come with dating because I think it's something you have to be like really aware of. And I wasn't aware of these things until I was like, had a therapist, and she was just like, this is what you do when you start dating somebody, and you need to not do that. You need to still have X,
yeah,
Y, and Z going on. You need to date multiple people. And I was like, date multiple people? What does that look like? Like, I don't know. I don't know how to do that. Yeah, but I was like, I mean, I have cheated, so I
had
do
that
know how to do
revelation.
things. But I don't. But I mean, I don't operate in that
Safe
place
space, baby.
anymore.
Safe space.
But dating different people, it's something you have to learn, because I think in my generation, you didn't do that. And you like dated one person and you gave your attention to that person, but now I've dated more than one person because it's like, okay, I got to figure it out. Yeah.
It's not only that, it's commonplace. It's commonplace, man. Like, I'm not out there, but I'm familiar with a lot of that stuff. I got a lot of single friends. I mean, you included, we talk about things, and I got other single female friends, single male friends, and they telling me about, one of my guys, he was messing with 5 chicks. Easy. It was nothing. He was just like, oh yeah, this chick's just my cigar buddy. Oh man, this is my if I want to go out
But
to
doesn't
travel,
that get
this is my
expensive
blah blah blah.
for a
And I was just
man
like,
at some point?
wow,
I would just
expensive and exhausting. But but look, to each his own. To each his own. That's how he got down. And I was just like, I
that's
was amazed.
impressive.
I was just like, wow, like, okay, I can't. And very impressive, and just trying to just keep your story straight. Because think about it, if you date somebody and they're like, okay,
That's the thing. Yeah,
on this
like,
date, what are you
do
doing
these
the other
other
6
people know
days?
about each
What are
other?
you doing? Like, you know,
Yeah,
I know.
and
Well, I don't know. Some people actually roll like that. They like, hey, they open with it. Hey, I'm
yeah,
dating, blah
like
blah blah. This is how I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm
you get
low
in where
key
you
the
fit in.
CIA, so I be paying
So
attention to stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, so I'm noticing a pattern. And I just start mentally, doing something, and it's fine, but it's just like, okay, I'm noticing like the availability.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's a whole different situation. Like I
Mhm.
said before, I probably would have never gone out with like 2 or 3 guys at the same time. But it's also, for me, it's like, okay, I'm not gonna waste my time. Not waste my time, but why waste 6 to 9 months with one person when I can figure things out with 2 to 3 in 3 months and see, okay, who can I go a little bit further with? I don't have that type of time. These eggs are,
True, true. Yeah,
eggs.
true.
they're not as fresh as they were before. I mean, those eggs, these eggs, they
Eggs
all
at a
expensive.
premium right
So
now.
we got to do what we got to do. But I mean, I think,
I love it. Yeah.
we
So
didn't, we weren't
definitely.
meaning to
So
release or have this talk like around love, around Valentine's Day, because it is, and I say this in the nicest way, it's like
yeah.
a chump's holiday. Because if someone is not taking care of
No.
you both ways, like female, male, every day or throughout the year. I mean, it's nice to show this on Valentine's Day, but that shouldn't be like the only day that you show your affection or post on IG your
No.
room full of roses when 364 days out the year you can hardly get him to take you out to dinner. I mean, so I'm just saying. I do wear a size 8.
Right. I know.
If someone wants to gift me some Valentine's Day sneakers, I'm here. I'm here. You have the shoe size. DM me if you need to know what shoes I am looking for specifically. So, but I mean, love is fun, but it's hard. It's Love in a marriage is super hard. You know that because you've been doing it for 15 years. Um, I did it for technically it was like 5 or 6 years. But it's work and it never stops.
Yeah.
And
No. No. Not at all. Because right now we're about to go have some communication about different things such
mhm.
as finance, travel, just building, about buying more property, doing stuff. It's always more. You always have to steadily evolve and
Mhm.
always look to keep your partner included in everything. Like I was like, you're definitely. But ladies and gents, we're gonna wrap
Books One Love. Hope you enjoyed our candid conversation about just love at first sight, the fear of love, talking about defining true happiness. This is William J., my homegirl Tevis. As I say, we can be found on IG. Tevis is Boyish Boutique. I am William J _VII. Follow us on Instagram, our Talking in the Attic handle. Also on YouTube. Please subscribe, like, share, follow, do everything you have to get that out. And
I
also,
will
like I
have
say,
those
we'll
lists
have more
of
info on
names.
the Roku channel coming up soon. Tevis, you have
Under
anything else you want to get to the audience?
this, when I post this on IG, I will have the list of names. I'm not gonna put everyone out. It's gonna be a
Oh, my
puzzle.
God.
It's gonna be some
Oh, my
letters
God.
missing, So,
Okay.
have fun with the list. Have fun with the list.
Okay. Shots fired. Shots fired, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, thank you guys.
Took some L's to the chin, but I ain't stopping till I win. Only fail if you don't try. Take that step, gotta begin. Always have your faith in God and knowing it's part of the plan. Had to have my own back when they ain't get no help in hand. But it is what it is. I know I gotta make it happen. Success a part of my habits. Dropping jewels from the attic. If I want it, I'm attracting. If it's toxic, I'm subtracting. No, my grind ain't no reason.